Hi, everybody. I wanted to give you a very quick overview of the course this month. We're going to start with week 1. Mostly orientation here, a little bit about what you can expect from the class, a little housekeeping, all right? So my name is Libby Perry. You'll find that I'll go by Elizabeth online for some of your courses, and I teach the first year and second year web design classes. So you can call me Libby or you can call me Elizabeth. I just use the Elizabeth so it's consistent with your course and the email and things like that, so you're not confused. Do contact me through the assignment feedback. That way I can find your work quickly and what you're referencing, and I don't have to put it off. I could do it immediately sometimes. And it's also where the extension button is on my end, all right? So that is why we do that. It's just the most efficient way to serve you. There are the live sessions once a week. You can find those under your meeting tab. Next week, it might have a different time of day, so always check. Virtual open office hours, I pretty much have drop-in on Wednesday after the session from 2 to 3. It's a good idea to text me, though. You'll find my number with my contact there under the About Your Instructor. Do text me and let me know if you're going to show up for something like that. Thursday, 1 to 3, those are the hours that I don't schedule things, or I try not to schedule anything. But you can also contact me through the assignment feedback and arrange for a virtual class, all right? And this is the address where you would jump in, all right? So do let me know ahead of time. Please do not leave phone messages because anything important anyway, because I have a lot of students and it will all come in as spam. And so the best way to reach me is definitely through a quick text, all right? All right, make sure you let me know your name and class. The late policy, this is an MCBS class, and so you have 72 hours to submit. You do not have to tell me why you need the time. We all know everybody has things come up. So it is great if you contact me before the due date and let me know, and then I can give you an extension, and that 0 might not pop up. After 72 hours, it's a 0, except you do receive feedback so that you can move forward. If work is late, sometimes your feedback will be late, so that's kind of the double-edged sword there. That said, for this class, you can submit your website link and continue to work on it typically, and if nothing has changed as far as the URL address, then I won't know until I go to grade. So you should be able to meet the due date, the 11:59 p.m., and then continue to work for a few hours if that's what's needed, all right? There's no coding. I know a lot of students get a little apprehensive about that, but we have at Full Sail a web design program. So this is geared mostly towards definitely towards our media communication students, and we have some digital cinematography students in the advanced class, all right? So we do use very friendly web builder templates, and it's free if you pay close attention and don't accidentally choose the paid version, all right? So what we use in this class is Wix, simply because it's user-friendly and easy for the students, all right, for those who have never built a site before. If you do happen to have your own Squarespace account or WordPress account already, then you can use that. But if you do not, then I recommend using the Wix.com. There's a difference between Wix.com and Wix Studio. Wix Studio is only a 2-week trial. It will not last you through the course, and it is then becomes a paid version. You will not be able to convert that site back over to a Wix.com. So if you accidentally do that, you're better off just starting over. But you want to make sure you choose the Wix.com. You will notice that Wix is going to advertise Wix Studio to you, and you'll probably get pop-ups and things like that. There's no reason for you to choose it. There are plenty of templates, many of the same ones mostly, in Wix.com, which is free and will be there a year from now. Supposedly, it has been for several years. So that is the one you want to use. With your assignments, you will have some explore. Mostly that will be in videos and a little bit of exploration on your part. And content strategies, you'll learn about that. The advanced class will look a little bit into search engine optimization for their specific site or SEO. You'll analyze competitor research. That's what you'll do before you build your site. You'll look at competitors in your industry. If you have a client who has a food truck, for example, you're going to look at other food truck websites to see what is working for them. And you'll know what to look at because you've been online for a very long time. Once you log in, you'll immediately notice what is working, what is not working. Okay. Everyone has a site draft that's due around week 2, and then you get feedback on that, and you have your project final in week 4. The early class actually creates another skeleton site in week 3, but it's not a full-on site, okay? And you bring it back and check it out when you become a senior. So here are the phases that you'll go through: the discovery and planning. That's going to be your competitor research, your goals, doing all of that kind of research. The early students are going to create sitemaps and wireframes this week. The web design advanced students are not, because they haven't had a lot of courses in this, if any. And so they're also not creating so much for clients. They're creating a showcase portfolio. You are creating a showcase portfolio for yourself. And so it's important for you to understand these, but you're not required to demonstrate the sitemap and wireframe. You do review it. Okay. All right. So everyone does competitor research. You'll all learn what a tagline is, how to write your about page, and we'll review sitemaps and wireframes. We've talked about the competitor research. You first need to know what your tagline is going to be if you are creating a site for yourself, which everyone does this month, but the first year students do it in week 3. And you will need to know what to search for. So you'll want to think about what it is you want your service to be at this time, all right, so that you can look at competitors in that industry. When you're reviewing your competitors, you're going to know what to look for. You're going to look at the user experience. I want to define those for you. You probably have heard them a lot, but maybe it seems like it's more complicated than it is. The user experience is simply everything about that brand. It can be anything from someone answering the phone, their support networks, it can be the packaging, their websites, it can be anything. Now, user interface, that is directly under user experience. It's a part of UX, and that's the part where you're interacting with something. So it could be, however, a machine. It could be your washing machine has an interface, right? And your mobile screen has an interface. Certainly a website has a user interface. So you're going to be thinking about primarily the user interface when you're building, but as a result and part of the experience, right? We want the experience to be simple and straightforward. By now, maybe if you've watched some videos, you've learned about Hick's Law. And Hick's Law simply states that when we give more options, it takes the user, site visitor, longer to make choices. And so we try not to complicate that or slow down their movement when they are landing on your site. Your tagline is going to be your service. It's not going to be a slogan. It's not going to be like Nike, who has just do it. We can't say just do it because we're not a household name. We would have to say sports apparel and gear or something like that, right? So your service might be cinematographer. It might be graphic designer, that kind of thing. Your tagline, your service is going to match your message, what you write about in your about paragraphs, and the work that you will show as examples, okay, will definitely be about your tagline. We don't want to have multiple services. That can get really confusing. So narrow in on your primary service, and that's what you'll work with this month. And then you'll learn how to make a site, and if you choose to make another one differently, then you'll have the ability and preparation to do that. A sitemap in wireframe, it's simply a list of the pages and then a diagram for each one. Now, the list can be something like a flowchart, or it might be, and this would be a diagram for this particular one. If there are 5, 6 pages here for your sitemap, then you're going to have 6 pages for your diagrams, okay, for your wireframe. Again, the advanced students, you're not doing this, you're not building a client site, but the first year students editing for the web, this is what you're doing for your proposal for week 1. No images. If we put images in at this stage while we're trying to get an approval on the architectural hierarchy and functionality of this site, if we do that, we are totally distracting the client and they will derail in our conversations because they're going to start focusing on images and all these other things. No text, only placeholder text, and no images, all right? Contact goes to the final end of the navigation because that's where site users are used to finding it, and it's usually the last thing that they need, all right, or that they're looking for. So we want to maintain those things that we're used to. Be careful not to use an esoteric name of a page because site engines do crawl the navigation, and a site user is probably not putting a keyword in to look for you if the page name is, fantaristic or something. They're just not going to find you. So stick to a traditional menu. So if they're looking for you and your location, they'll know what to look for. All right? Keep it simple. We don't have pages anymore. From the 90s, we may have had, under construction or to come. We don't do that. So either disable a page that you're not using or totally delete it. You'll see more about that in the assignment. You can list 1 or 2 things under, that goes on these pages. Not too specific, just the general content if you need to, but you don't have to for this class. All right, another example of a wireframe. The thing to remember is you have just as many pages in your wireframe as you do in your sitemap, okay? It's each one for your sitemap. All right, really important is how you share your Wix URL. If you are in your Wix editor and you copy the browser URL, that link will be broken when I try to use it, okay? So there are a couple of ways. You're shown a way in your assignment. You can also find the menu that says Site and then get feedback when you're in your editor, or sometimes when you're in your dashboard, then you can do that. You can also select the Publish that will be up in the top right, and that will give you one also. After you get your feedback, you'll duplicate your site to make your edits. Again, you'll be instructed to do that when the time comes. So this can be a sitemap too, just a categorical list of pages. All right, doesn't have to be a flowchart. Here are some sitemap tools. You can use Figma, Canva, presentation application like Keynote or PowerPoint. Those are easy because you can continue to work on your presentation. They will fit right in. Make sure you're using a desktop horizontal format, not mobile format, although it's not a bad idea to begin your sites in a mobile layout. But we go ahead and make our sitemaps and wireframes this way in our presentation. All right. For wireframes, not sitemaps, but for wireframes, we used to use Adobe XD, and you can look and see if that's still available to you, but they've been phasing it out, and not everybody has been able to access it, okay? All right. Very quickly, here are some web layout rules. You won't all need these this week, but they will be coming up, so if you want to review them, we can do that. You want to mind the scroll. Keep everything above the scroll line, all the important content. Anything under that is fine, but when someone clicks on our content, let's say it's a menu, or let's say it's our works page, we're telling them that that's what they're going to find when they click that. And so it's kind of an online promise, and you don't want to frustrate the site user. Make sure there's contrast between text and background. I prefer that you not put text over images typically. It can be done for sure, but you have to really be careful, and the background image definitely has to fall back, and it can't be the primary content. The message has to be the text, all right? Readability. Just a little example. If you want to have opacity at 20%, it's going to look like this. 100% opacity, 50% opacity, right? But here, this text is overlapping text. It may not seem that, distracting, but it is. We really need to try for something that is much more readable than just 20% opacity, okay? Sometimes that works for an image, but not text. Text over text is not a good idea. Okay, so you want to make sure you enter the text. Sometimes you'll be given content. It might be your resume. It might be maybe a client gives you a menu. Then all of that has to be entered. We can't just enter the PDF or a picture of words, because SEO will not pull that up, okay? Not a picture of words, okay? Accessibility readers will not be able to read a picture of words, okay? So enter the content so that it's text. When you're making a professional portfolio site, for example, you want to make sure that you have context for your work. So we have a little simple asset guide that you would include, and it's just going to cite what role you played. Maybe it's your cinematography, maybe you also were the director, the writer. That's where you list those things, because we don't know by looking at a video, for example, what your role was. If you're a graphic designer, we don't know if you used Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop, so it's a good idea to let us know. Make sure you left align paragraph text. It's easier for the eye to return left to the same location. It also gives you a really nice straight edge to help keep your content nice and clean, all right? So what does that look like? This looks a little busy, but this is your left alignment. Headers can be centered. That's usually okay. But once you get once you get like 4 lines of text, that starts to be a paragraph or look like one. So then you're going to left align that, all right? And again, left aligning is going to keep things clean for you. Try and break up anything that has heavy text. I can say if you have, when you're working on the fictitious website for the taco truck menu, this is just for the first year students. You do not have to use all of the about content. If that's too long, you can go through and edit it down a little bit. We do like to break things up, all right? So using titles and headings and things are going to help you keep things organized. Make sure you're adding padding around content. If you create an ad, for example, you're going to provide enough margin around so that it doesn't look like it's being cropped, right? So remember that space is also an element of art, and allow plenty of breathing room. You want to set all your links to open in a new tab, right? If you are sending people to your YouTube, that is actually curated just for them, and it's very difficult to get them to come back to your site when you're competing with that, right? So meaningful hyperlinks also, these will help the SEO, the search engines, to find you, because they do crawl hyperlinks, both contextual links, and that's why you want to use something that might have a meaningful keyword that relates to you or your work, not your name, because people are not likely to put that in unless you have a very well-known name. They're not likely to search that. And also accessibility can read something if it's meaningful, rather than click here, click here. And that's what a screen reader would do. It would sound like that, click here. And I don't know if I want to click there, right? Because I need to know a little bit more about it. So these are some of the primary things that you want to think about. You won't get all of them right this month, and that's okay. I'm going to continue to remind you as you go through until you know them inside and out. All right? All right, everybody. Have a great week. Contact me if you have any questions whatsoever.